Bill, it's nice to meet you and welcome to our little get together.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So, Bill, you are originally from Hong Kong and you left there more than 50 years ago.
Yeah, 1974 is when I left.
And where are you living now?
I live in BC, British Columbia, out in the country.
Yeah, we can see that. It's like you're in a jungle or something.
Yeah, I live in the country. I live on 3 acres, got a few horses. And
And when did you first discover Angelina?
it was AGT.
Yeah, like so many of us. Yeah, I was listening to Angelina, her latest album, when I go to sleep at night sometimes, and it's so, because it's so very soothing to hear her voice. It's almost like a lullaby for grown men.
Yeah, it calms you down. You know, when you get stressed out and always break out the Angelina, and I feel better.
Over and over again, these new reactors who are just discovering Angelina for the first time, they're still getting thousands and thousands of views. And it makes me think that when you're grown, when you're 50, 60, and 70, you have these memories of your first love of when you were 16 or 18 years old, and you glorify these memories, and these memories have a halo attached. And so we want to recreate that by watching people reacting for the first time, and
Yeah.
we want to relive our experience of hearing Angelina for the first time again.
The songs that they react to are songs that we have all probably listened to hundreds of times. So it's not about the songs, it's about their reaction to the song that you say, oh, yeah, I remember that.
There's another aspect as well. She is not well known, and that we are in a pretty small community.
Yes.
And we have the knowledge. We know that she is the best out there. And we want people to hear her on the radio because I told you so. That's one of the things that drives us.
If one day Angelina becomes the icon that she should be, and you can all say that, you know what? I has been watching her since she was 18 months old, singing in the crib. I knew her then.
People have said to me that I should copyright some of the videos that I've made, but I do it for joy. It's not that I'm not a businessman, but I don't approach my Angelina Jordan hobby as a commercial venture. If she's going to sing as an art form, then I'm going to make videos as an art form.
Have you been to any of her concerts, Bill?
I hope one day she'll come to Canada, and I'll be sure that I'll show up. She announced the possibility of a few concerts.
March 2027. Only in the States, was it?
Possibly in Seattle and maybe New York. I think there are a few places that she mentioned. Always try to get a message to Angelina that, you know what, BC is not that far away from California.
Okay, so $64,000 question, Bill, is how does Angelina Jordan make you feel when she sings? Does she take you to a different universe when she sings?
It definitely takes me back in time. I grew up listening to Sinatra and Billie Holiday and Ella James. And it's very strange that I'm 72 years old and Angelina is just 20. And we almost grew up listening to the same type of music, which is really weird. And it brought me back to the time when I was growing up listening to all this wonderful music that nobody listens and nobody appreciates anymore. It brings you back in a happier time, simpler time. You tend to remember the good stuff, not the bad stuff. And so sometimes in the past always seems better, but it's different time and nostalgic.
I call my wife a sentimentalist because she had an idyllic childhood and she has these wonderful memories of the past. And I say to her that the present is only a distraction for her of her memories of the past.
And people always say that music and smell are the two things that brings you back in time most strongly.
My grandfather had an apartment above his bakery, and whenever we would go there, it always smelled of freshly baked bread, and I remember that very distinctly from my childhood.
When you hear the recent albums that Angelina has produced and put out, in her recent songs, there's this really close connection to past songs. It's almost like she's cooking up some kind of mixture between the different genres and the different artists of that time. So it's a really nice retro feeling you get when you listen to these songs.
Yeah, it's so different from 99.999% of the music that's out there on the radio now. And that is almost good and bad. The good is that those are good music. Those are real music. The bad is that it puts a little bit of a wall between Angelina's popularity and the majority of the public out there. Because I find that people don't appreciate that kind of music that much, and therefore getting radio station, for example, to play them is gonna be tough because they're not what the majority of the people want to listen to. And that makes it so much more difficult to get her out to become more popular. And she deserves so much more in terms of being well known. But because of her music, I doubted if she would ever be as popular as Taylor Swift, for example. I don't think that would ever happen, unfortunately.
But maybe she doesn't even have that kind of plan. Maybe she's putting the art of her artistry at the forefront instead of making money or being famous.
I agree with you. I think the worldwide popularity of Angelina is more the wish of a lot of angels than herself.
Yes, I think so too.
It's so interesting because her granny wrote most of the songs of her most recent albums. And so Angelina, when she chose what music, chose it according to how the lyrics were written. But I find it very interesting that if those 3 albums were first and then the EP that she put out a couple of years ago, if the EP came after those 3 albums, then we would say, she's progressing to try and appeal to a younger generation. But the fact that it was in a reverse order makes me wonder.
Right now is the right time. Got the skies to read mine. That's the good and goodbye. Oh yeah, that's the good and goodbye.
I don't think she is that concerned about her being popular. I don't think that's her main concern. Her main concern is just making good music. She enjoys it so much that it's part of her. I mean, she sings everywhere. She sings in the garage. She sings walking around. she sings everywhere. She doesn't care. She just wants to sing.
It would be interesting to get a little bit more facts about the cooperation between Mary and Angelina in these songs. What did Mary put in? Was it like, okay, here is my latest poetry book. Please put it into a song. Or was it more back and forth? Or is it like some songs is more of Mary's ideas and some songs are more Angelina's ideas? There are so many ways that cooperation could play out.
Is it like word for word from Mary's poem that just put into music? Or is that changed? I doubt it if it is word for word. I really, really doubt it. I think it's extrapolated from the poem to a different degree, depending on the song, from Mary's poem.
I think a lot of the choices of the themes of the song would appear for someone who has lived a long life about the sadness of love and love lost. Angelina, I believe, wrote Love Don't Let Me Go, but that is bouncy and it has a feel to it.
Love, I really wish you had a face. Maybe I could beg for you to stay. I'm on the floor, I'm begging, love, don't let me go.
Whereas a lot of the songs from the album have a much deeper level of regret of someone who has lived more life. So for that reason alone, the tone of the song, I think, points more to Mary being the lyricist.
And if someone asks about the girl who who sang your name so long ago. Say nothing loud, just point to wind and let the silence grow.
The main idea is definitely extrapolated from Mary's poem, but is it like word for word? They just put those exact words into music? Is that all there is? I'm not sure.
If and when we ever get Angelina on our podcast, we have a list of 285 questions that we want to ask her.
Wouldn't that be good if she just somehow pop up in one of these podcasts and say, "Hi, it's Angelina." What?
Maybe what we need to do is we need to get $1 from every angel, and then we say to Angelina, we have an appearance fee for you to appear on the podcast. Angelina being the purist that she is, I don't think she's easy to bribe. Artists, when they are pure artists, they have ideals, and they do not compromise her
No.
ideals. And I think that is probably what all of her fans need to keep in mind. We may have our criteria. Oh, we want her to be world famous and we want her to be a superstar. But she has her ideals. And I've said it before, her priority and her family priority is to live a normal, happy life. She has an extraordinary talent. And it's funny because when you have a cat, the cat goes out to the garden and sometimes will bring you a little treat. It will bring you a mouse or a bird and it will lay at your feet. So that's what Angelina Jordan does with her TikTok. She
Yeah.
gives us little treats and she lays them at our feet and she says, "Here, I hope you appreciate this as much as I do."
It's fascinating. I've never experienced an artist like her in the sense that she is very authentic. We don't know her, but we feel that we do because we post so much of their personal life. We just feel that we know her personally. And that is so extraordinary. Usually, celebrities are so guarded. They don't want you to know anything other than absolute perfection. But that's not them at all.
I think that is genius on her part and her team's part to personalize her and to show who she is as a person and show her charitable nature. That comes across with Mary's paintings. She's a very real, accessible human being, other than the fact that she won't appear on our podcast.
But it is extraordinary the kind of talent she has, because musicality is just pouring out of her in a way that seems so effortless. It's almost like even she doesn't think there's a lot of effort involved, because she just sits there and just opens her mouth and it comes out so right. It's exactly like we want it to be.
I don't think she even knows herself how good she is.
That's what Simon said to her after Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Simon said, I don't think you know how good you are. If she says, and it must still be true, if she said 10 years ago, singing is like breathing to me, you don't think about breathing. It just comes in and out. And you breathe to keep alive. She
Yeah.
sings to keep alive.
Yeah, and everybody else alive.
She redefines what music can be and what feelings can be and what a song can be. She redefines things on so many different levels.
One of the angels was saying that it's Angelina's world and we just live in it.
Well, I can't think of many better worlds.
I actually feel lucky that I live in this time, that I'm chance to experience her and see her growing up.
What do you think will happen in next 5 or 10 years with Angelina and her artistry?
I think she would continue to get more and more popular, but to the angels, never enough. Like, we always think that she should be known everywhere, fill up stadiums. Maybe that's not what she wanted in the first place. She just wants to enjoy her music and have people who truly appreciate her to enjoy the music. And I don't think in the next 5, 10 years, I don't think Angelina will change that much. She'll just continue to do her music and get better and better. If as impossible it seems, that how can anybody get better from how good she is now? She have a long and illustrious career, and one day she'll be regarded as one of the greatest singers.
What song of Angelina's has moved you the most? What song that she has done has most affected you?
It will probably change the next album that comes out. But for now, the first one that I like the most is You Know When It's Gone because of this country vibe to it. And then, and after a while, the one that I like the most is Still Standing. I
Okay.
really love that song.
Because some people say that their favorite period of Angelina was like when she was 11 or 12.
I think that is the time frame where she really made a great leap to show her ability. That's the most shocking time period where she just make this humongous leap from a child prodigy to somebody that can sing like a 30-year-old singer that's been singing for decades. I think that's why that seems to be most impressive, because that period of time you can really see the leap. That wow.
It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And feeling good.
I think to compare 8-year-old Angelina to 12-year-old Angelina to 20-year-old Angelina is like comparing 3 different sunsets. They're all beautiful, but they're
Yeah.
all beautiful in different ways.
Yeah, I think it's the shock factor too. She is older now. I mean, she is still leaps and bounds above anybody else out there. But it's the 10, 12-year-old period that shock people the most, because you visually see a kid, but you're listening to something else altogether different.
It's the reinterpretation over and over again. It's the way she understands a song and reinterprets it. Either she introduces the song as if we've never heard it before, or she explains the song, or she breathes life into it. And it's such a unique talent that she has, full stop.
Comparing to her version, you thought, well, that's the way that song should have been in the first place.
What we need to do now is, why don't we play your favorite song? Why don't you play Still Standing? And then Bill can either talk us through it at the end and explain how he feels, or explain what's special to him about the song.
Hey guys, my new album Secret of Love just came out, and I'm gonna be singing a little bit of one of the songs on the album called Still Standing.
I hear my tears like porcelain, afraid they'd fall and break. I learned to smile in silence for the promises we couldn't make. You said forever softly, like it might disappear. And I believed in echoes I was never meant to hear. I loved you without asking, without a single demand. I stood right where you left me, and still reach for your hand. Some hearts are born to give
choose the distance while I chose love anyway. This is me still standing with a quiet kind of pain. Love you with dignity, not calling out your name. If loving you was a losing, I lost with open eyes. Some loves don't need to be returned to still be real inside. I won't rewrite the story. I won't curse the truth. Some hearts are only chapters, not the whole work through. This is me still standing, not broken, not ashamed. I loved you in the only way that love should ever be named. If you remember me someday, let it be this way. I loved you with a steady heart and let you walk away. When love learned to be quiet, I learned to be strong.
It's such a journey through that song because in the beginning she starts with regrets, almost as if she's half crying, but then she progresses. So by the end of the song, she becomes more of a whole person, and the regret has changed. The regret has almost disappeared. So that song is almost like a journey, it's like a progression. And she captures that with how she sings. It's not just the lyrics, but the way she phrases the lyrics captures that progression. She
Yeah.
captures the mood with how she sings it.
To me, the song is all about unconditional love, basically. It says, I watch you and chose the distance, but I chose love anyway. And at the end, it says, no, I let you walk away. And so it's all about loving somebody without any expectation. In a sense, it's a purest kind of love. I don't expect anything back.
And she does this with so much sincerity. So this isn't like a song she's singing. This is something that she believes in.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
so much belief in the story and what she tells.
That's one of the biggest magic of Angelina. Right? She makes you believe that every word that she says, she has actually experienced it. And in cases, and especially when she was younger, you know there's no way in hell that she has experienced all those things. It's impossible. Reincarnation or not, right? That's not possible. But she is able to make you believe that, yeah, she went through all that.
Because when she's 9 or 8 years old and she sings, I Put a Spell on You,
Yeah.
She has not had that experience.
No.
But her understanding of music is so deep that she can still do something with it, which makes us reinterpret the song.
Exactly. I mean, I've never seen anybody who can do that. You do this journey every single time. You know, she can just take you anywhere she wants. She just hold out her hands and say, "Come with me," and then there you go. You know.
She has talked about that world, of course, that she herself goes into when she performs and sings. And I think she's sharing that world with us. And I think that's one of the reasons why it feels so genuine and powerful. And you get something from it. There's a certain kind of connection when Angelina sings that is not very often present in any other artists that I know
No,
of.
no. The magical thing is that it doesn't have, like, for example, she has sung a lot of Adele's songs that Adele wrote those songs from her own experience. But you get more feeling out of it listening to Angelina. At least I do, listening to Angelina singing that than I listen to Adele. And it's her song, it's her experience. So how is it possible that I can feel more of it when I listen to Angelina?
Yeah. That kind of musical intelligence is so rare.
When I just heard that song, I've heard that song many, many times before, but I heard things in that song just now I had not heard before. Does that happen to you, Bill? Does that happen to you,
Yes.
Pontus?
Yes. And when I listened to the album the first time, Still Standing was not my favorite. But as I listened to it more and more, it changed.
Why? What made you have that one as your favorite?
It's hard to describe. It's the feeling that it gives you. It touches something. And I don't know what it is that is more than other songs. But with Angelina, it's really hard to pick. The next songs that come along, everything changes again. But at the moment, it just makes me feel that I wish there was more of this type of unconditional love around. I wish that it changes things in this crazy world we have right now.
Yeah, unconditional love is something you read about in books or the Bible, but it's not part of everyday life, and that's a tragedy.
And somehow, listening to Angelina, it makes you feel that, well, maybe it is possible. Wish there was more Angelina around. Maybe will be possible.
Well, she communicates unconditional love and she understands it because she receives it, and she lives in a world of unconditional love, and
Yes.
that is probably one of the secrets to her talent.
Yes.
The fact that she is able to capture that.
In a way that she is a very lucky girl to born in a family that is so special.
We were all very lucky to be born in the late 20th century. If I look at the lives of my grandparents, and their lives were much, much harder on every and any level. And our lives have been relatively cushioned compared to what history has been. And I don't lose sight of that. I am very appreciative on many levels.
You asked, Alan, if we find different things in Angelina's song when we hear them, even though we've heard them so many times.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are finding that same thing. And for me, I think it has to do with the fact that her voice and the way she sings is so layered and complex that it's so much to take in. So I can focus on one thing when I hear the song one time, and then I can switch it around and focus on another thing the second time around. And there's always things to discover.
I believe in symbolism. And right now, Bill is in bright sunshine with his camera. And so the sun is radiant and coming down and bestowing a blessing upon Bill.
Yeah.
And this is his experience of Angelina's music. I believe in symbolism. It's just a matter of recognizing it when you see it.
That's cool.
It's hot.
Listening to Angelina is like looking at a painting. Every time you look at it, you see something different. You find something, oh, you didn't see that before.
My father was an abstract painter in oil, and he worked in different layers. So he actually worked on a painting 3 times and let it rest between the times he painted it. And that's a thing also with light hitting the painting. If it's sunlight, then you see some things. And if it's a light from an electrical source, then you see something else. And also the symbolism, you have to think about things to experience them.
I used to know a vicar, and when he would marry a couple, during the wedding ceremony, he would say to them, "The love that you feel now will only grow and grow." And I think that's part of our Angelina Jordan experience. We have this awe and wonder, but it continues to grow and morph all the time because we hear new things and we have different emotional reactions. And so love may be unconditional, but it's not static. It's not fixed. Love gets transformed through our experience. We came across you under very unusual circumstances. Last podcast that we did, you left some comments which made Pontus and I fall off our chair, and we immediately said, we have to get this guy on the podcast. And the comments you made me do a double take, and it was almost beyond my understanding. Now, I'm not a scientist, and you're not a scientist, but pretty much you were quoting Einstein and his theory of relativity, and you were talking about the time-space continuum as it relates to Angelina Jordan. And I thought, that reason alone, we have to get you on the podcast for you to talk us through what you understand and your perceptions and how it all relates to AJ.
Okay, so I'm no scientist either, but I've always been interested in time travels. Many people, when they talk about Angelina, talk about, oh, she's an old soul, she's lived many, many lives before and reincarnation. It can sound very hocus pocus. A lot of people just reject it offhand. Oh, what the hell are you talking about? Past life and all that. I mean, it's nonsense. Then I thought about, well, is it? Because there has been a lot of talk about time not being linear. It's a continuum. The only reason why we talk about past, present, and future is because we live in a linear timeline. We get born and we die, and that's a very fixed timeline. But that is only related to our existence. The universe may not work that way, and there are credible scientists like Einstein, for example, who thinks that no, time is not linear. Time-space is woven like a piece of fabric. And this time-space continuum is influenced by gravity. So you think of the time-space as a piece of fabric and think of all the planets and stars creating gravity as bowling balls of different sizes sitting on this fabric. The weight of the bowling ball is going to weight it down and warp this fabric. When the fabric is being stretched, time is being stretched. So when time is being stretched, time slow. The part that is closest to the gravitational force or the bowling ball gets stretched more. So the time slows down in that area. If you're further away, your time is normal time.
In your comments, in order to simplify it, you said time is relative, time is not absolute. I can understand that, not being a scientist myself. Now, should I think of it in terms of time is more like a cloud than it is a rock? A cloud moves, and yet at the same time, it changes shape. Whereas a rock is very physical, and a rock basically does not go through any transformation.
Yeah, you can look at it that way. This time being linear is only because of our perception. It's not really actual. In the theory of relativity, we experience time because of our perspective. So when you talk about time being past, present, and future, always is there. It's not like really a stretch from point A to point B. So there are actually multi-universe. So to tie back to Angelina, the reincarnation can be explained that Angelina actually was traveling from one multi-universe to the other. So if you think about it that way, then is it not possible that somehow Angelina was moving from one multi-universe to the other under a different timeline? She has lived all those things before. She has seen all those things before. And when she moved from one multi-universe to ours, she has brought her knowledge, her experience from the other universe to ours. So therefore, maybe she has seen all this music and heard all this music, experienced all this music in a different universe and brought it to ours.
So when Angelina sings, does she take us to this different universe with her?
That's one interpretation. Or else, the reason to explain how she knows all these things is because actually she did experience it before. So she experienced that in this parallel universe. She somehow got to ours and she brought all this knowledge.
We've always sought the answer to the question, how is it possible? But I think this is the first time we have evoked stars and the black holes. That's pretty amazing.
Bill, when you speak like this, is this fairly standard scientific theory, or is this your understanding of it all? Is it more how you understand it?
This is part of quantum theory, physics, that they talk about multi-universe. Now, it's not really mainstream quantum. It's the theoretical quantum theory, but it is part and parcel of quantum physics, that multi-universe can exist.
Well, Bill, if we're going to have a Jungian psychoanalyst on, then we may as well next go on to quantum physics.
Yeah.
I mean, if Angelina is going to stretch us with her singing, then why don't we stretch our audience with our different guests?
I think it would interest a lot of people. If people want to take a look at that, I'm not that much of a Looney Tune, then Google the information about what Einstein actually said, tied to quantum physics and multi-universe. You'll find that if you are willing to open your mind a little bit, maybe it's not that crazy.
So, Bill, thank you very much. You've been a great guest, and
Thank you.
Yes.
it's been a pleasure to mix business with pleasure, meaning to talk about Angelina's musicality and then talk about Einsteinian physics in the same podcast. And it's also interesting to understand the movement of time, because that's something that's totally outside my vocabulary. It's not something that I had any familiarity with, and it's not something I think about. But just introducing that concept is like introducing the concept of how Angelina can sing. It is that revolutionary and that groundbreaking, and it makes you do a double take and think, what did I just hear when I heard Angelina sing? What did I hear when I heard Bill just explain his view about time? So you've given us a different, if you'll allow me to say, a different time frame.
Well, it'll be very interesting as to how your audience would react to this particular podcast.
Well, if you're a parent and you have some baby food and it's spinach, you force the baby to eat it.
Yeah.
That's what we do? Okay. I didn't know that.
Because it's good for the baby. Okay. Thank you,
All right.
Bill.
All right. Have a good day,
Okay.
guys.
Yes, thank you.